What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Alex, joined by my co-host, Ryan. What's going on, man?
Not a whole lot, man. Hard to believe it's already November and hard to believe we're already halfway through this season. It kind of makes me sad.
Right? It's already week 9. That is crazy. But the trade deadline just passed, and like we were just saying before the show started, it was pretty lackluster. I think there was only like 3 or 4 trades. I know before we get into the actual trades, I know Will Fuller was on the block, and everybody thought the Packers were going to make a move for him, and then it just kind of fell apart. I even think Will Fuller thought that from the looks of his tweets, but it just kind of fell apart, I guess, at the end. The two parties couldn't agree. I think it was that the Texans wanted a second-round pick, and the Packers were willing to offer a third-round pick or something like that. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense if I'm the Packers to not give up a second because he isn't a contract year, so you'd have to pay him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know. Aaron Rodgers desperately needs help. But I guess they think that maybe Devin Funchess, whenever he comes back, I think that's not till next year, but maybe he can do something for him.
Man, just when are they going to draft a wide receiver? Like, it's just not good. I know that like 2 years ago they drafted like 3 in like the 5th round, whereas like Equanimeous St. Brown, Jamon Moore, and like somebody else, and like none of those guys worked out. Maybe it was Valdez Scantling.
I think it was. And I think
he worked out.
Alan Lazard, they got off of waivers, I think.
Yeah, he was like an undrafted free agent, but honestly, he's been their best guy.
Yeah.
Aside from Devontae Adams, but
all right.
Yeah, they just need to get him somebody.
Speaking of the other trades, I just pulled them up. All the trades that happened after the actual deadline. So I guess we'll just run through them real quick. So the Chargers traded Desmond King to the Titans. I'm not really sure what they got in return. It was a late round pick, I think.
Yeah, it was like a 5th or 6th round pick.
Honestly, I think that's an absolute steal for the Titans. Desmond King is still pretty sure he's like 25. And he's a really good slot corner. So that really helps that defense. He's 25. He turns 26 in December. So, and he's still on his rookie deal. That just makes a lot of sense for them because they desperately needed help in the secondary, and now he can lock down at least the slot corner and help Clowney and the rest of those guys get to the backfield.
Definitely a good boost for cornerback room that's now missing Logan Ryan.
So up next, this is actually probably my favorite trade of the entire deadline, and I think this is one that we forgot about. So the Jets traded Avery Williamson to the Steelers. Again, I think it was for another late round pick. This whatever I'm looking at doesn't tell me what it was for. It just tells me who got traded. But I think this is huge after the loss of Devin Bush because he's done for the season. To add a guy like Avery Williamson, who granted he's really good, he's just been playing on the Jets, and the Jets stink, so nobody really pays attention. What do you think, Ryan?
I really like it because, you hit the nail on the head with, Williamson coming in and filling the role of Devin Bush. But, Williamson's also been super injury prone the last few years. Like, I think he missed all of last season. So, like, getting him for that cheap is huge because he is a good player when he's on the field. So,
yeah,
I think that was an excellent move for an undefeated Steelers team that's trying to stay undefeated.
I'm pretty sure it was for like a 5th round pick.
I think it was in 2022 too.
Yeah, it's not this year. So then we got the Texans and the Cowboys traded some guy. He's a defensive tackle. His name's Eli. His last name is Ankou. Anoku. So I don't know who he is, but he got traded. And then the Saints acquired Kwon Alexander, which actually, now that I'm looking at this transaction list, it looks like they traded Kiko Alonso and a 7th round pick for Kwon Alexander from the Saints, or to the Saints. So Kwon Alexander left the 49ers. He's going to the Saints. Kiko Alonso and a 7th round pick are going to the 49ers. Again, I think this is a huge steal. That 49ers team is just in shambles. We can talk about the injuries after the trade deadline stuff. But, again, I think the Saints easily won this trade. I think Kiko Alonso, granted he's a little older, but he's definitely worth more than a 7th round pick. Not Kiko Alonso, Kwon Alexander, my bad.
Yeah, I mean, and Quan Alexander is very familiar with that division, and I'm really excited to see him next to Demario Davis.
And he plays his former team this week.
Oh, true, on Sunday Night
Actually,
Football.
do they get to play? Do they have to pass multiple COVID tests?
Yeah, and they might have to go through COVID protocols.
It
And
might take a week for them to actually get traded.
yeah,
And then we have the last two trades. The Chiefs traded DeAndre Washington, running back, to the Dolphins, which actually the Dolphins kind of need depth at that position because Myles Gaskin is now on IR. Matt Breida is out this week. So right now their starting running back is Patrick Lard and Jordan Howard. And so I guess he's a nice little third running back to have on the roster. And then the last move that of the trade deadline, the Dolphins traded Isaiah Ford, the wide receiver, to the New England Patriots. A little in-division trade. We don't see that often, but I guess there's a relationship there with Brian Flores and Bill Belichick. So I mean, Isaiah Ford, a fourth receiver, goes to the Patriots, and he'll probably be starting.
honestly, yeah, I mean, with Edelman on IR, I mean, they need all the help they can get. I think their best wide receiver last week was like Jacoby Myers, who was the 2019 undrafted free agent. But
100%.
going back to your last trade, can we just talk about how disappointing Jordan Howard has been with the Dolphins?
Yeah, I mean, dude, his stat line is ridiculous, though. Hang on, let me look it up. It's like, hang on, I'm pretty sure it's something insane. Let me check. Yeah, NFL, come on, load. Okay, for the year, he has 18 rushing attempts, 14 yards for 3 touchdowns.
I didn't know he was scoring, but I mean, I guess he's there.
Bro, they literally bring him in when they get to the 1 yard line. He runs in the touchdown, and that's it. He's averaging 0.7 yards a carry.
That's so gross. But I feel like that's a weird utilization for him because he's so much better than that. Like, he showed us that in Chicago and even a little bit in Philadelphia. But, I mean, if he's scoring, I guess.
This is the depressing stat. His longest rush of the year is -3 yards.
-3?
-3 yards.
That doesn't even make sense.
I mean, that's what it says on here. It says he has 18 attempts for 14 yards. He's averaging 0.8 yards. Oh, no, his longest run was 4 yards. His longest reception was -3 yards. My bad. But still, your longest run on the entire season is 4 yards.
That's not good.
Like, I'm going to bet you that Patrick Lard, who hasn't even received a carry this year, is going to end up being the starter this week.
Yeah. I mean,
but I guess before we jump into the recap of Week 8, we can talk about a little bit of injury news. So I think the biggest one is probably the 49ers because they are down. So their game was Thursday, but they were down Jimmy G and George Kittle, both on IR, out 8 weeks. Then Kendrick Bourne, their one starting wide receiver, tested positive for COVID, so he had to be quarantined alongside Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. So their starting wide receivers on Thursday were Trent Taylor and some other guy I've never heard of. Obviously, they lost to the Packers, but I feel like this team is going to be one of those teams that we look back on the past and they go from first to worst in that division.
And what's sad is, like, they had all the pieces. It's just the injury bug has, like, devastated them.
I mean, Jimmy G's done, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he's done with that team.
Yeah, I mean, he done with the team?
Yeah.
I could see that. Doesn't he have, like, 2 or 3 more years on his deal, though? I mean, he might get traded, but
somebody will take him.
I honestly, if I'm Chicago, you have to make that work. Or just draft somebody. Maybe Justin Fields.
Oh, he got a lot of money. I did not realize how much money he got paid.
He got a ridiculous amount of money for playing like 5 games as a 49er.
He got $137 million.
Yeah.
and a 5-year deal. So he's been with them for 3 years. So yeah, he probably has 2. Yeah, he's due $26.9 million in 2021 and $27 million in 2022.
See, Jimmy G's a good quarterback, but in no way is he worth that amount of money.
He's not the right quarterback for that team. I feel like that team needs somebody like Kyler Murray or Russell. Like they need a mobile quarterback, and he just can't get it done. Like even if they had somebody like Joe Burrow, they can run a little bit. They'd be better.
Josh Allen.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, but
he's not going anywhere. But
yeah, I was gonna say Josh Allen's about to get a fat contract. You got any more news before we just go ahead and move on?
I don't think so, man, but I'm just really bummed about this 49ers team because, I mean, like they were set up, man. They were the front runners in the division, and it's wow.
Yeah, so right now
injuries come at you fast.
I'm trying to pull up the playoff picture real quick. So right now, the 49ers are, let's see, they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're 9th right now in the NFC. I mean, they're sitting there with the same teams like Philadelphia, the Lions, the Panthers. Yeah, that's crazy, man.
What's sad is, like, if they were in the NFC East, they'd be, like, destroying that division.
Oh, yeah.
Even with the injuries.
Easily in first place.
Yeah.
Easily. What's crazy, too, about them is their home and road splits. Like, at home, they're 1-4. On the road, they're 3-1 this season.
Road Warriors, man.
I guess. But with that being said, I guess we'll jump into our recap of Week 8. So let's start with the Thursday night game. The Falcons beat the Panthers 25-17. I personally, as a Panthers fan, kind of expected this. When the game started 14-0, I was like, oh, the Panthers might have a chance. But then it kind of just fell apart. And Carolina's just never been good on Thursday night.
That's fair. Yeah, this was a weird game. Didn't they have this was the game with the dirty hit, right?
Yeah, well, 2 of them back-to-back. There was the tripping call, and then the very next play, helmet to helmet, where the guy got ejected. I believe he got suspended 2 games.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Panthers lose another one. I mean, well, this is a crazy stat. Atlanta's won 6 of the last 7 games versus Carolina. And like I've been saying all year, this team, they live and die by Teddy Bridgewater. He's either going to play really good and they're going to win, or he's going to play really bad and they're going to lose. Like this game, he had an interception and a fumble. But bright side is Carolina gets Christian McCaffrey this week. Bad news is you get to play the Chiefs. So I guess we can move on. So up next, we got the Bills beating the Patriots 24-21. And I'm going to let Ryan go ahead and take it away on this one.
I got 4 words for you, man. It's too close for comfort. This was a team that we should have absolutely handled, and they played us really well. This just goes to show you that within the division, as long as you've got a good coach at the helm like Bill Belichick, all games are winnable. But I'm very impressed with our run game. Zach Moss and Devin Singletary both had 80 yards rushing. Zach Moss had 2 touchdowns, so that was nice. And then on top of that, I think Josh Allen had like 60 yards rushing. So very good day on the ground, which is something that we haven't been able to say literally all season. And passing has been abysmal the last few weeks, but I think Josh gets right against the Seahawks this week.
I think the problem with the Bills right now is they desperately just need a healthy John Brown, because when he's healthy, he opens up everybody else in the passing attack.
Yep, and we're getting him back this week.
Yeah, so I'm hoping he's back and like actually healthy and not just out there being a decoy. But up next, we got the Bengals. They beat the crap out of the Titans, honestly, 31-20. I did not see this one coming. I'm pretty speechless. I honestly didn't see it coming at all. I'm trying to figure out what happened because I didn't even watch this game. So
yeah, this was the surprise game of the week. And this one killed my win streak in the Eliminator Challenge. I thought this was an easy one. Titans over Bengals. And the Bengals just absolutely ripped me for that decision. But Joe Burrow looked fantastic in this win. And I think, if they get him an offensive line and get him some studs on defense, his team's going to go some places next year.
Yeah, I think they need about probably 2 more years. I think his 3rd year in the league, they're going to be contenders. But other than that, I think it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
Up next, we got the Raiders. They beat the Browns 16-6. This game was crazy because there was like 80-mile-per-hour winds. Like, it was insane. It was snowing at one point. Like, it was just a crazy game. And, I mean, the Raiders pulled it out. And honestly, I think the Raiders are probably the better team, at least on offense.
I agree with that.
I think they're the better team. I think they're a better all-around team. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I've been saying it all season long that Derek Carr is playing sneakily the best football of his career. He's playing really well. And, although the score was weird today last week because of the wind, I think Derek Carr is, at least a top 12, maybe top 15 quarterback in this league right now.
Yeah, I feel like what Derek Carr really needs is another wide receiver, not Henry Ruggs. Like, I think that was a mistake drafting Henry Ruggs. Granted, I think he's going to be okay. But I think if he had a bigger wide receiver, like literally any of them, like Jerry Jeudy, Lamb, Jefferson, like any of those guys, he could put up better numbers, where Ruggs is kind of a one-trick. He's like Tyreek Hill, but like a very, very poor man's Tyreek Hill, where he can just run one route. That was very disrespectful to Tyreek Hill. But he's like, I don't know, he can run a streak, and that's pretty much it. So he needs to either develop or they need to get him some help.
He's like the happy medium. I think you've made this comparison before. He's like the happy medium between Tyreek Hill and John Ross.
Yeah, like he's way better than John Ross, but he's nowhere near Tyreek Hill. So,
right.
But granted, he's a rookie. He's played, I think, not even 8 games because he was injured for half of it. So I think he's played like 6 games. So for what we've seen, he looks like he's not going to be a bust, but they also need some help on the outside. Next, we got the Colts absolutely just destroying the Lions, 41-21. This was a story of not Jonathan Taylor, but Jordan Wilkins. Absolutely. Jordan Wilkins and Nyheim Hines put on a clinic. Wilkins had 20 carries for 89 yards and a touchdown, and Nyheim Hines had 3 receptions, 54 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Here's the one thing I've figured out about the Colts is that Phillip Rivers literally will pass it to anybody. Like, it does not matter who it is. Like, how many different receivers had a reception? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 different players caught a pass from Phillip Rivers this week, and it's working, man. They're 5-2. So
I also just want to crown Frank Reich as the running back whisperer. This man, I mean, look how many running backs have been successful in his system. Marlon Mack, Jordan Taylor, Nyheim Hines, Jordan Wilkins. Like, there's just Jonathan Williams. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, this guy, I don't know. Either he's got a really good job, or he's done a really good job at sniffing out some good guys, or he's a really good running backs coach.
No, you're right. The problem with the Colts is that Phillip Rivers is obviously not the answer long term. Like, granted, he played a great game. He had 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, but he's old. So, here's the problem. You're 5-2. You're going to compete for a solid playoff spot. So you're not getting one of these top quarterbacks in this draft. So they're in kind of a tricky spot where they might end up signing somebody like Jameis Winston or a free agent like that.
Maybe trading for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Maybe.
You know who I really like as a rookie going to Indianapolis?
Who?
Kyle Trask from Florida.
I wouldn't hate that. I mean, I think that's what it's going to have to be. It's going to have to be somebody that can develop. I'm trying to think of anybody else. I don't know. I was watching BYU last night against
Boise State.
Whoever their quarterback is, I can't think of his name right now. It's really going to bother me. But that kid is good, and he's going to end up going to the league.
I think he's a projected first-rounder.
I think
right
he's
now.
A late first-rounder. I'm trying to think of his name. Zach Wilson. Yes.
Yeah.
He was not good. Actually, he was really good last night. He wasn't good his last game against Western Kentucky, but he's definitely going to go to the league. The only problem is I think he's already 26 or 27, so that might hurt him a little bit. But that's what happens.
The old Taysom Hill.
Yeah, that's what happens when you go to BYU. So, up next we got Virginia. Not Virginia. What am I talking about? The Vikings beating the Packers. 28-22. And this was literally just Dalvin Cook running wild over this Packers team, which shout out to me because in my money league, I traded Jonathan Taylor for Dalvin Cook 2 weeks ago. And Dalvin Cook had 30 carries, 163 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then 2 receptions, 63 yards, and a touchdown. So altogether, he had 4 touchdowns. He accounted for all the points that the Packers scored. And the Packers did make it interesting at the end. They made a little bit of a comeback, but it just wasn't enough. And, I mean, Minnesota, you stink, but you have really good players. So they're in a tricky situation.
They're going to what?
They're in a tricky situation.
Yeah. I think, honestly, they need to get a really good rookie. If they got rid of Kirk, that would clear so much cap. But before I forget, is it, safe to say that Dalvin Cook is still slept on in this league?
100%.
I feel like he doesn't get the respect he deserves.
No, he should be right. Honestly, if I had to rank the running backs, I'd probably go Christian McCaffrey. And then I want to put either Dalvin Cook or Derrick Henry. And then Saquon and Zeke. Because Derrick Henry, I disrespected him all year last year. And the man has proved me wrong this year. He is absolutely going crazy. And so he definitely needs to be up there with the top tier. But I think Dalvin Cook has definitely put himself ahead of Zeke and ahead of Saquon.
Right. If you're Minnesota right now, are you thinking about firing Mike Zimmer?
Yeah, I said this I think I made a TikTok, about this at the beginning of the year, that he's not a good coach. If you look at his playoff performances, he has the Minnesota Miracle, and that's it for the Vikings. He's not a good coach. And also, whoever your GM is who decided to give Kirk Cousins an extension, what are you doing? I don't understand. Kirk Cousins is under contract for 3 more years.
Yeah, till 2023. And they're paying him the same, literally the same deal. Maybe a little bit more money, but same type of
right now. So he signed a 2-year extension worth $67 million.
Is it fully guaranteed?
I don't think so, but I know the beginning part, the original contract was fully guaranteed.
Yeah.
So he had 84 million of it was fully guaranteed in 2018. He's gotten $61 million of that so far. And the 66 million, I believe 20 something of it was guaranteed, but still, shout out to Kirk Cousins because you've made over $100 million basically now. But still, I think the Vikings are in a weird spot because you have potential in your offense. But at the same time, why would you trade Yannick Ngakoue away? That made no sense to me either.
Yeah. Well, it seemed like a weird situation where, he didn't want to be in Jacksonville, and then he was happy he got out to Minnesota, but then he didn't really want to be in Minnesota either.
Yeah, he wanted to play for a contender, I think, is the problem.
Right.
All right. Next we got – I'm going to spend no time on this one. Chiefs beat the Jets 35-9. Jets are tanking for Trevor. That's pretty obvious.
This one deserves no respect.
The Dolphins' defense absolutely obliterated the Rams 28-17. Tua played terrible, and the Dolphins still won by 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, I want to see Tua in a game where he actually has to compete.
All right. Let's play fill in the blank and see if we're on the same wavelength.
Let's do it.
Blank is the guy in Miami. Who am I thinking of?
Well, I would have said their coach, but am I wrong?
Nah, that's for who I was. Brian Flores is the guy. They found their coach.
I was like, wait, nobody played really good in the game, so who is he talking about?
Yeah, I was like, don't think too hard about it. But, yeah, no, Brian Flores was a fantastic hire. He's slowly but surely changing the culture. And it's so cool to see because, I've been through that with McDermott. I could see Brian Flores, slowly turning it around. It's cool.
You know what he needs? He needs an offensive coordinator like Joe Brady, who came from college, that's just going to come out there and he can just strictly worry about the defense
Right.
and let somebody take over the offense. So next we got the Saints. They beat the Bears 26-23. This game was a lot closer than I expected it to be. I believe it went to overtime.
Yeah,
But
this game was crazy.
do you think Mitch Trubisky gets back in a game this year? Like, do you think Nick Foles at some point?
I feel like, if Nick Foles keeps playing the way he's playing, there's a chance Trubisky comes back just because, I mean, they didn't extend his fifth-year option, so he's in a contract year, right?
Yeah,
Trubisky?
yeah.
Why not? Like, see what you got before you let him go.
Yeah, he'll be a free agent.
He's going to be a really good backup somewhere.
No, he's going to freaking – look, the Patriots are going to get him, and they're going to turn him into the next Tom Brady.
Honestly, that's very probable.
I mean, no, it's probably more realistic that he'll go to somewhere like New Orleans or somewhere like that, or go be somebody's backup. Yeah, you're right. Like, if he went to – I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Tampa Bay,
the 49ers, the Cowboys, like somebody like that, and was just
right.
their backup, it'd be nice. So next we got the Seahawks obliterating the 49ers 37-27. Again, I've said it all year. I was completely wrong about the Seahawks team. They're 6-1. Sorry. You're going to do really good this year, and then you're going to make it to the divisional round, and you're going to lose to somebody that has a good defense because you have no defense. You're on pace to have the worst defense in NFL history. So it is what it is, guys.
Hit the nail on the head. I don't have anything else to add on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So next we got the Eagles beating the Cowboys 23-9, and this was Ben DiNucci's first ever career start on Sunday Night Football, and he was absolutely terrible. He was 21 for 40 for 180 yards. If you throw the ball 40 times and only have 180 yards, something has gone tragically wrong. Other than that, I don't really have a lot to say. The Eagles are probably going to end up winning this division and probably get a home game. And honestly, actually, I lied. I'm still behind the Washington football team. I think they're going to win the division. But this Eagles team, I mean, I don't really have a lot to say. It looks like Travis Fulgham is a real deal. But other than that, I don't see a lot.
Yeah, I'm honestly really upset that the NFL kept this game in primetime. These teams had no business being on Sunday Night Football. These teams are both garbage. I really liked what you said about Ben DiNucci, this being his first start, because it's also probably his last.
It is. They brought up Cooper Rush and Garrett Gilbert from the practice squad, and they're battling it out this week to see who the starter is going to be.
I think I saw just a few hours ago that they're going with Gilbert, so that'll be interesting. Didn't he used to be on the Panthers?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
The Browns?
I think we drafted him. Yeah, at some point. That's like a 7th round pick.
Right.
And they said, quote, we need more experience, where I think Gilbert has thrown, I believe it's 3 professional NFL passes.
There you go.
So.
He's been there before.
Yeah.
All 3 of them.
You know.
Yeah, no, these teams are honestly a national embarrassment, and I would be okay if we never saw them in primetime again.
The winner of this division is going to be 6-9-1 or 7-9.
Yeah, it's not going to be good. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I was going to say you're right about Travis Fulgham, because I remember watching the transaction wire this summer, and he went from he was on 3 different teams in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I think he started out with the Lions. They cut him. He got picked up by the Packers for 2 days, and then he went to the Eagles, and they cut him on cut down day, and then he was on the practice squad, and now he's balling out, and it's cool to see. It's a feel good story.
He is balling out. So next we got the Steelers. They beat the Ravens 28-24 to remain undefeated. They're the only undefeated team left in the league. I'll keep mine short and simple. Lamar, you're not. I mean, I feel it's weird to say this about the last MVP, but he's not it. They figured you out, and you're just not good.
Right.
Like, I don't know if
And
I'm being really disrespectful, but he can't throw.
yeah, no. I mean, this defense is going to absolutely carry. Like, the thing about Lamar is he does just enough to beat like average teams, but like, and the defense just does the rest. But like, they're going to get like, one or two rounds into the playoffs, and it's just not going to be enough.
Yeah, like if they had to go, like, okay, let's say hypothetically they made it to the Super Bowl. If they play the Packers, if they play the Seahawks, if they play, no, even if they play Pittsburgh, like they're not making it to the Super Bowl with Lamar throwing the way he is.
Mm-mm.
Like, it's just bad.
Yeah.
And do you see what Marquise Hollywood Brown tweeted the other day?
No, what do you say?
He was like, if you have weapons, why aren't you using them? And then he deleted it after like 5 minutes. But he is clearly fed up that he can't get the ball because I saw a stat that was like he's been open on like 17 deep routes or something like that. And the ball has been deemed catchable on 5 of those 17 routes. That's pretty terrible.
That's really bad.
Next, we got the Chargers losing to the Broncos 31-30. I'll keep mine short. I think this Broncos team has real potential in Drew Lock. The problem is Drew Lock might be the worst quarterback in that division. So
I think the sad thing is Drew Lock's a pretty decent quarterback. It's just that division is just that good. I mean, Justin Herbert just came out and is looking like the offensive rookie of the year candidate. Obviously, Mahomes is the best, and I was talking about Derek Carr just a few minutes ago. I mean, he's playing like some of the best football of his career. So I think you're absolutely right. But I feel like injuries aside, this Broncos team is still in a good spot. They've got a really good receiving core with Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, and KJ Hamler. They just all have to be healthy at the same time.
yeah, I mean they're sneakily going to be good. It's just going to take like another year probably. If they're all healthy, then they can really compete. The problem is that defense is never healthy. Last game of the week, the Buccaneers beat the Giants 25-23. This game is way closer than it ever should have been. Here's the problem. Daniel Jones sucks, and this Giants team should be way better than they actually are because their defense is really good. They just can't score. That's the problem. And also, Carolina, the dumbest decision you've ever made was getting rid of James Bradberry. I said in the offseason he wasn't that good. He's been the best corner in the NFL this year. Like, genuinely, if it wasn't for Aaron Donald, and if this team wasn't 1-7, they would have a real chance at being Defensive Player of the Year. Like, he's playing incredible.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, we did kind of downplay that departure, but it's turned out to be a huge addition for the Giants. But you know what I was just thinking about?
What?
You know how we were just talking about Trubisky going to the Pats?
Yeah.
You know who I'd rather see on the Pats? Well, not really because I'm in their division, but if they found a way to trade for Daniel Jones, I think that's a match made in heaven.
I mean, it'd be interesting, that's for sure. I think the Giants are giving up. I think if the Giants have one of the top 3 to 4 picks in this draft, they're going to give up on Daniel Jones, kind of like how the Cardinals gave up on Rosen.
Well, that's the thing I absolutely hate about New York/New Jersey media is like you have approximately a year and a half to 2 years to be successful as a coach, as a player, anything, or you're out. I mean, we saw with Pat Shurmur. We're about to see it with Daniel Jones, maybe even Sam Darnold, Adam Gase. Like, it's just – I mean, it doesn't help that these teams are very poorly run and, bad people get brought in, like Adam Gase. But, like, you really, like, your timeline in New York City is, like, so short. I hate it. Like, you can't win and, like, be a Super Bowl contender with a team that went, like, 2-14 in, like, 2 years. Like, no one's going to – not even, like, Andy Reid come in and flip that team in 2 years.
Now, that is true, but I'm going to defend the Giants for a second if they do end up taking another quarterback. Guess how many turnovers in 20 career starts Daniel Jones has?
Oh, it's got to be in the 50s.
No, it's not that high.
Oh, 30s?
Yeah.
Isn't it like 33? I thought I saw something like that.
Well, he has 35 because he fumbled twice in the last game. So he's up to 35, and I believe it's 13 games in a row that he's had a turnover or something like that. So, I mean, it gets to a point where it's like, dude, you have to stop fumbling the football or we can't even compete. But we'll see. I guess it depends on how high their pick is. Like, I think if they have a chance at Fields or Lawrence, then they're probably going to take him. But other than that,
They
I
have
don't
to.
think they'd take anybody else. You ready to move on to make our picks for Week 9?
Heck yeah, man.
All right. First game, we got the Broncos taking on the Falcons. This game is in Atlanta. Who do I want to take?
I'm going Atlanta right here.
Yeah.
Atlanta's they're starting to get the juices flowing, and like you said, this Broncos defense is still a little banged up. Calvin Ridley, is he hurt?
He's listed as questionable for the game.
All right, well, they still have Julio, so I'm feeling good about the Falcons. I'm taking Atlanta.
I'm taking Denver. I don't know why. I just think it's going to be a shootout, and I just have a feeling Denver's going to pull this one out. Next, we got a game that Ryan's going to be very stressed for. We got the Bills taking on the Seahawks. This game is in Buffalo. I'll go first, and sadly, I'm going to take the Seahawks, Ryan.
That's fair.
Actually, hang on. Quick question. Is everybody on your defense healthy or no?
The only people we're going to be missing tomorrow on defense is Matt Milano, which is a bigger loss than you might think it is, and Josh Norman. So, for the most part, we're pretty healthy.
But Tre'Davious White's playing?
Yeah. And Levi Wallace. So, we've got our top two corners.
I lied. I'm taking the Bills. In case you're wondering, by the way, last week you went – I did the math. What was it? It's either 7-5 or 8-5. I know you had a winning record. So did I, but I was like 2 games behind you. I think I went 500. You went 8-5. I'll tally it up after this and tweet it out.
I'm trash.
You're making a comeback. What are you talking about?
That's true, but it's a slow train, man. But I think that if the Bills' pass defense is able to do exactly what they did against the Chiefs, because if you remember when we played the Chiefs a few weeks ago, we almost like completely took Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill out of the game. It's just that our run defense was so bad that Clyde Edwards-Helaire had like almost 200 yards on us. But Chris Carson's out, so if we're able to take away the pass, I think we're golden.
Oh, I believe the Seahawks are starting
Travis
Dallas
Homer?
and
DJ Dallas. Yeah.
yeah, and Travis Homer. So, yeah, no Chris Carson to worry about.
Yeah, it'll be a close game for sure, and I think it's still going to be a shootout, but I have to take my Bills. But I saw you almost take the Seahawks, even though we're watching the game together tomorrow.
I did because no, here's the problem is that I'm slowly losing my faith in the Bills, but if they pull this one out,
Me
it's
too.
going to skyrocket back up. It's just like that defense has looked really bad. But this is a battle of two defenses that are terrible. So, in theory, Josh Allen should have a great day tomorrow.
Fingers crossed with a healthy John Brown.
Next, we got the Colts taking on the Ravens. I'll make mine quick. I think the Ravens' defense is just too good, and I'm going to take the Ravens.
I think Phillip Rivers has like at least 3 interceptions, if not more. Probably like 6 sacks in this game. Also because I don't know if they got Quentin Nelson back because I know he had COVID exposure earlier in the week. But yeah, Yannick Ngakoue and Calais Campbell with Matt Judon on the outside, like no thanks.
Yeah, it's not a good, it's not looking good for them. I believe Nelson is supposed to be back, by the way.
Okay.
Next, we got the Texans taking on the Jaguars. The battle of 1-6 teams. This game is in Jacksonville, Florida, and Gardner Minshew, Ryan's savior, is out.
Hey, I hopped off the train, man.
He did, but I like to make fun of you. He's out with a broken thumb. He's been benched, in my opinion. For who the hell is their starter?
Litton, something like that?
Yeah, Josh Luton, something like that. So, yeah, with that being said, I'm going to take the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, it was if I remember correctly, they've played already this season, and it was pretty much a blowout. I really did not – I knew the Texans weren't going to be good this year, but I did not expect them to be this bad. This is just not good, but I see them grabbing their second win this season.
Speaking of people tweeting things, did you see what J.J. Watt said after the trade deadline?
No, what did he say?
He said, I'm not here for a rebuild. I'm trying to contend. So he was a little upset, I think, that he didn't get traded at the deadline. But I guess we'll see. I mean, that team is in shambles. They desperately need a lot of help. Both of those teams do. Um, although, the Texans don't even have their first round pick. Dang, that
Stupid Bill O'Brien.
All
Glad
right.
we have Kenny Stills though.
Yeah. Next, we got the Panthers taking on the Chiefs. This game is in Kansas City. I mean, Chiefs by about 30, I have a feeling. So, granted, Christian McCaffrey comes back this week, but still, I don't feel good about it. So I'm going to take – I should take the Panthers, though. Whatever. We'll take the Panthers. Are you taking the Chiefs?
I'm taking the Chiefs in overtime. I think –
Ryan, if it goes overtime, there's no shot, brother.
That's why I'm saying Chiefs in overtime. I think CMC is an absolute nightmare for this defense. Not to mention that Chris Jones just went on IR.
That is a huge deal that I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to.
Yeah.
Not even just for this game. Like, that's a huge deal in general.
Yeah. But I think that makes it a lot closer. I think Teddy B has a good game. CMC has a good game. And, you guys underratedly have, like, a really good receiver room. Like, Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore, like, their corners are trash. They can't contain that. I think this is going to be a shootout, but I think that the best gunman wins, and that's Patrick Mahomes.
I think
Alex.
Probably top 5 best receiving cores in the league. If I'm allowed to put Christian McCaffrey in said receiving core, then we do. But if not,
do you want to hash out this 5 right now?
Well, number 1 has to be the Bucks.
Yeah.
Number 2. Hang on, can I even think of 5? All right.
I put Buffalo in that top 5.
Okay, I'm not putting them at number 2 though. I think 2.
Yeah, no. They're like 4 or 5.
Go Seattle.
Yeah, I'd feel comfortable with Seattle.
With DK and Lockett. All right, so we got the Bucks, Seattle. Who's 3?
I'd say Chiefs. Mecole Hardman, Sammy Watkins, and
Travis Kelce.
Right.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm going to go Chiefs, and then I'm willing to go Panthers, I think.
Yeah.
And then we can round it out with Buffalo.
Yeah. I feel good with that.
I feel like we're missing a team that has, like, really good wide receivers, but I can't think. Oh, Atlanta when everybody's healthy.
Yeah. I'd allow them to kick us off to 6.
Yeah, you might have to be 6 because if everybody's healthy, Atlanta has one of the best receiving cores in the league. All right. Let's move on. Next, we got the Lions taking on the Vikings. The Lions, has Matthew Stafford been cleared to play?
I want to say yes, but I'm not sure. I think he has. I haven't seen news that he hasn't, so.
He was 16 so 19 hours ago from USA Today. He has to test negative, I believe, today and tomorrow to be able to play.
Oh, boy.
Wait, he's back on the list even though he did not catch it Wednesday. Yeah, so, okay. If he tests negative, he hasn't gotten it. He hasn't had a positive test yet. So if he tests negative today and tomorrow, he gets to play.
Yeah, I think he just got exposed to it. Like, I think he was around someone who tested positive.
Yeah. So with that being said, I'm going to take –
Wait, what's the match again? Lions versus who?
Vikings. I'm going to take Vikings.
Yeah. I think Dalvin Cook is still hot.
Yeah, which I hope so for my fantasy team.
Right.
Next, we got the Bears taking on the Titans. Damn, that's a hard one.
I think this is going to be like good offense from the Titans side versus good defense from the Bears side. I think this is a close one that's like 21-17, but I'm going Titans. They bounced back from that terrible loss last week, and I think the Titans defense is just a little too much for Nick Foles.
I agree with you. Pretty much exactly what you said. I think I'm going to take the Titans also. So up next, we got the Washington football team taking on the Giants. This is easy for me. I think it's Washington. I think they have one of the best defenses in the league, and they're really slept on. and I think they make Daniel Jones throw the ball and force a lot of turnovers this game.
See, I want to say football team, especially because you could tell things are starting to get put together in there. They're coming off a bye. Are they at home? Is that what you said?
They are at home, yes.
They're at home. But I have a hard time with it because it's like I've seen games this year where it's like even though the Giants lost, like they still played really well against the Bucks, against the Cowboys. Like
my stat might persuade you. The Giants have won 4 straight games against Washington.
And I remember the last time these teams played, it came down to that Kyle Allen like not being able to get the 2-point conversion.
Yeah,
right.
The one win that the Giants have is against the Washington football team.
No, I think I might ride with you with the football team. I think their confidence is going to be up. I think Terry McLaurin is going to have a monster game.
Oh, really? I disagree with that. I think he has a terrible game because he's going to have James Bradbury on him.
We'll see, man.
Next, we got the Raiders taking on the Chargers. This game is in SoFi Stadium, so it's the Chargers are at home. I'm going to take the Chargers in a shootout.
I think this is going to be just like every other week. The Chargers are going to play really well and get a lead, and I think Derek Carr is going to come back, knocking on the door, and he's going to take it. This one might even go to overtime. I'm taking Raiders.
All right. I like your analysis. That's pretty good. All right, up next we got the Cardinals taking on the Dolphins. Cardinals are at home. I'm going to keep it – that's difficult, man, because that Dolphins defense is good.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm still going to go Cardinals because I haven't seen enough from Tua to tell me that he can put up enough numbers to compete.
Also, I'd like to say, so obviously the Dolphins played really well last week. We talked about their defense. We haven't been talking about this Cardinals defense. This Cardinals defense has been tough.
Yeah, they're not bad. That is for sure.
This is going to be a really good, like, low-scoring game, like 2013, maybe something like that.
I can get down with that. I agree. You taking the Cardinals?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't make that clear.
No, you're good.
Definitely taking the Cardinals.
This is going to be super easy. Next, we have the Steelers versus the Cowboys. I'm taking the Steelers, obviously, because Garrett Gilbert is starting for the Cowboys. So if you have the Steelers in fantasy, please, God, start their defense because they're probably going to have 30 points. So.
I don't know if Garrett Gilbert will ever be able to play a professional game of football again after this game.
Right,
I think
the way you started that, I thought you were about to take the Cowboys. And I was like,
nah,
what's this man doing?
This team's going straight to, what are they now? 7-0? They might go to 8-0?
Yeah, they're going to be 8-0 for sure.
Yeah. I think that Garrett Gilbert absolutely gets rocked. I think he throws 3 interceptions, maybe even 2 fumbles along with it. He's going to get sacked 16 times. This is just no bueno.
Yeah, this is the game that's probably going to give T.J. Watt Defense Player of the Year. He's going to have like 4 sacks.
Yeah.
So the last – 2 more games left. Is this Sunday Night Football? If it is, that's a good one. Oh, it is. Okay, we have Saints versus the Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football. Now, this is a big game because the Saints get Michael Thomas back, and the Buccaneers are starting Mike Davis, Chris Godwin, and Antonio Brown. With that being said, I think the Bucs are going to win this one.
Yeah, especially after a not-so-convincing Monday Night Football win against the Giants. I think they have to bounce back here. They're going to come out with a fire lit on their own.
And I think their defense is just a lot better.
Yeah, and I see, especially once you add AB into the equation, I think the Saints defense is going to have a rough time covering.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Marshawn Lattimore can guard one of them, but who's guarding the other 2?
Janoris Jenkins, maybe?
Exactly.
Nah.
You want AB getting guarded by Janoris Jenkins? And then on Monday night, we have the Patriots at 2-5 taking on the New York Jets at 0-8 on Monday Night Football. Thank you, NFL, for this gift. I'm taking the Jets. I think they get their first win of the season.
Nah, the Patriots have lost 4 games in a row. I think this is the comeback game that they need. I think Damian Harris has a monster game. Oh man, I just feel so bad for Jets fans because they had such high hopes coming into the season. They were like, we're going to win the division. And then we're 9 weeks in and they don't even have a win.
Now you're 0-8 and competing
Yeah.
for Trevor Lawrence, basically. So I don't know. I just have a feeling. I have a feeling that this is one of these games where Sam Darnold's just going to go crazy. And they're going to end up – and this game's going to end up being like 16-13, though.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know, man. I think Cam and the rest of the Patriots have a bounce-back game after that loss to Buffalo.
I hope so for their sake. You got anything else before we wrap this episode up?
I don't think so, man. This was a good one.
All right, man. Well, have a good weekend. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yep.